I wanted to talk about a series that is near and dear to my heart, one that I've played for a very long time, and one that has been on the receiving end of a ton of criticism, probably for good reason: Star Ocean. There's currently a really crazy sale on Star Ocean games right now on the PlayStation Store and on Steam, where you can buy a lot of the games for very cheap, but since people might view this further in the future, this won't be the only time they're on sale, so if you're unsure, wait, and eventually there will be one. Right now they're something like $6 for a lot of them. One of them's like 8. They're also available on PlayStation Plus, so if that's something you want to do, you can do that as well. So they're relatively cheap. Biggest reason that I love Star Ocean is probably because of the second game in the series, Star Ocean: The Second Story. I played it when I was a teenager, mostly because I loved the Tales series and I heard that Star Ocean is pretty similar to that. And this turns out to be a bit of an understatement because the team that worked on the original Star Ocean was in large part the same team that worked on Tales. They had disagreements with the company that they were working at, and they all moved to a new studio. If you go to Moby Games and look at the list of key developers, it's almost a one-for-one in both Tales of Phantasia and the first Star Ocean. You can just go down the list, key developer after key developer on Star Ocean. Same guys that were working on Tales of Phantasia. So that's one reason. If you really like Tales a lot, you'll probably like at least the first 2 Star Ocean games. Another big reason that I love it a lot is because it's one of the few JRPGs that goes into sci-fi territory. For the most part, JRPGs take part in a more medieval, high fantasy sort of setting, maybe with a little touch of steampunk. Star Ocean hits on something more like science fantasy, if you've ever heard of that before. It's a genre commonly attributed to something like Star Wars, where there are supernatural things happening, but in a bit more of a science fiction setting, which is a genre that I really love and frankly doesn't get enough love. Even though Star Wars exists, there kind of not a lot of competition in science fantasy. Star Ocean also has a lot of really fun systems, so if you're really into systems in games, the skill system is something I haven't really seen done in the same way before. It gives you the ability to kind of break the game in a lot of ways, but that's part of the fun, figuring that out and using it to your advantage in different ways. Pair that with crafting for all you crafting system lovers out there, and you'll be spending a lot of time in menus, diving into it, combining different things to get some of the best items way earlier than you're supposed to. I also think it has really good stories, really fun stories, with characters that you actually care about. I can't say that for every game in the series, but the first 3 are really solid, and in the first 2, the way recruiting works is very different than a lot of other games from that era. You can't recruit everyone, so you kind of have to pick and choose, and recruiting one person can lock you out from others. Part of that is private actions, which are the way that in Star Ocean, you talk to characters. Basically, you enter the town and your party spreads out, and you go and talk to them one-on-one, which is a pretty simple system on the surface, and it lets you learn about your party's background, who they are, and gives you points with characters that count towards an ending with that character. So there are multiple different endings in a lot of the games, some of which are romantic, some of which are friendship, and all of them are based on gaining relationship points with characters through private actions. For those of you who are, at the very least, interested, there is a fantastic entry point right now with Star Ocean Second Story R. It was remade, and it's been streamlined in a lot of really cool ways that make it even more fun to play than ever before, adding new visuals, an updated combat system, and making exploration more fun. A lot of people also really love Star Ocean Till the End of Time, so that could be a good entry point as well. It's very different than the first 2 games in a lot of ways, though some systems have carried over, and considering you can get it right now for $6 in the PlayStation Store, there hasn't been a better time to give it a shot. Now, there are some games in the series that are very contentious, namely Integrity and Faithlessness, and to a lesser extent The Last Hope. Though with the HD update to The Last Hope, I thought it's actually a lot better than it was in the past. I would recommend saving those two for later if you've gotten really invested in the series. The latest game, Divine Force, is in a lot of ways a return to form for the series, but I don't think it's the best entry point, in my opinion, or the best game in the series, but I thought it was pretty solid. Either way, I think Star Ocean gets a little too much flack. I feel like if Tri-Ace was given more resources, they could really shine a lot brighter than they have in recent years. This is, after all, the company that gave us Valkyrie Profile, Radiatus Stories, and even more recently, helped with the development of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They're definitely not a bad team, by any means, so give Star Ocean a shot. At the very least, give Star Ocean Second Story R a try. It will definitely be worth your time.